Hunters are smarter, combat is deadlier, and survival just got a whole lot more brutal. The brand new Subsistence Alpha 66 update is here, and ColdGames has packed it with some of the biggest AI, animation, and combat changes we've ever seen. Some changes are welcomed, some questioned, and some have not been very well received. From hunter overhauls to dismemberment, the new proximity voice chat, fish traps, fertilizing plant beds, and even scrapping down to planes for bonus loot. As well as reviewing the update notes, I spoke with the developer of the game, so stick around because I'll break down every major change and the devs' response to the community. Hunters are smarter, so let's start with the big one. Hunters have had a massive AI overhaul. No more predictable stop and shoot patterns. Hunters can now fire while moving, strafe during combat, take cover intelligently, and even coordinate with their squad mates. They'll use weapons situationally, like swapping to a shotgun up close, retreating while reloading, and diving for cover when things get too dangerous. In short, expect more challenging and tactical fights. Human character overhaul. Now, all human characters, including your own, hunters and rogues, have received a complete animation overhaul. Movement is now smoother, more immersive, with ColdGames confirming that he's going to continue refining this system. Gore and dismemberment. This update gets graphic with a new dismemberment system that's been introduced. Depending on ammo type, range, and hit location, this combat now shows brutal consequences in the form of dismemberment, which can be triggered by animal maulings, close-range shotgun blasts, vehicle impacts, and even extreme falls. Not a fan? Don't worry, you can toggle this feature off in the in-game settings, and ColdGames has committed to fine-tuning the system and is asking the community for its feedback. Context-based animations. There's no more instant ragdoll deaths. Characters now have a contextual death animation that blends naturally into ragdolls, making every kill that you make feel unique and immersive. There's also subtle touches in the way that fallen hunters and your character close their eyes on death, small details that go a long way. Blood effects and dynamic damage. Expect more realistic blood effects on both humans and animals, complete with blood pooling on human bodies. Dynamic damage now shows visible bullet wounds, claw marks from animal attacks, and other context-based visuals. As with dismemberment, this can be disabled on the options menu. Impact animations and stuns. One of my favourite changes, hunters now react to being shot. They'll stumble, stagger, grab wounds, or even collapse, depending on the hit location. Now, this doesn't just add immersion, but it adds a tactical edge. A staggered hunter gives you a precious moment to reload, dive for cover, or land a finishing shot. Increased bullet velocity. All firearms except for bows now have 1.5 times faster bullet velocity. This dramatically changes how combat feels. But just remember, right now, the Hunter AI has not been adapted, so the Hunter AI will be fine-tuned to reflect this change. For multiplayer fans, a new proximity voice chat lets you communicate with nearby players. You'll see mic indicators on your screen when someone's talking to you by their health bar, and a mic indicator when you're talking by your toolbar, adding a new layer of social interaction to the community servers. Scrapping planes. Crash planes just got sweeter than specialty loot and that sweet feeling of satisfaction for downing the pilot. You can now scrap them for extra loot, including alloy sheets and electrical components, no longer just scrap metal. Fish traps. Fishing just became a lot more reliable. The traps that you place will now catch fish even if you're around. They're not going to stop catching fish if you are in the proximity. So if you place them near your base, or that's where you want to place them, it's going to be fine. Just still remember that you need to space each fish trap out to properly maximize your catches. ground debris. You'll notice in the game there are new stick debris on the ground that react to seasonal changes. They aren't currently harvestable, but speaking to ColdGames tonight, he has hinted at the possibility of it in the future. Currently, he's concerned about the focus that players may have on harvesting sticks and the impact this might have on other aspects of the game. For example, like, I know a lot of people, now that the logs have been implemented, like, they always tell me, oh, you've just run past a log where I'm focusing on loot. I'm focusing on the loot crates. So I think he's a bit worried about that, but he said he hasn't ruled out the possibility of making them harvestable, but he's reviewing the implications of implementation in a way that they wouldn't impact on the balance of the game. Next, we've got plant bed fertilization, the biggest, most contentious aspect of this latest update. With the Alpha 66 update came the plant bed fertilization requirement. Now, the original notes show that in order to grow, plant beds now require both water and fertilizer. Previously, when they were only watered, plant beds would still grow, albeit at a slower pace. There's been a lot of backlash from the community on this one, and I understand. I found it hard enough as a solo player with this change, and in my solo game I've just built another log burner to produce more fertilizer. My concern was predominantly about multiplayer, that the amount of plant beds required for a multiplayer versus the fertilizer produced just didn't seem balanced. And I spoke to ColdGames tonight, and he's confirmed that he has just pushed today an update to revert plant beds back to not requiring fertilizer to grow, which I think is amazing because I just don't think it's balanced right yet. But I did say to him, I said, look, I think this is not a bad idea, but it just has to be thought through a little bit more. And we discussed a couple of different ideas. Like, I think growing a plant bed just with water is fine. No plant bed actually requires fertilizer to produce, for example, tomatoes. You can put them in the ground, they'll still produce tomatoes. But if you then choose to fertilize, how about getting a better yield? And so that's a possibility. Like, what is discussed is implementing higher yield if fertilized, and maybe a plant yield indicator. So when you look at your plants, it gives you the option to make an educated decision as to whether or not you want to fertilize for the higher yield or not. Let me know what you think about these potential changes in the comments. Any other questions or suggestions that you've got for ColdGames, I will pass them on. Foundations. There is a slight change to foundations. ColdGames mentions that foundations now require at least one leg touching the ground unless snapped to other foundations or buildables. Now, I'd missed this until somebody mentioned in my Let's Play, because I have a floating base on the water, and they said, aren't you worried? So I had a little bit of a look at the notes, and yeah, as long as a foundation is snapped to another buildable, it should be fine. And I asked ColdGames because I knew historically he was looking at and he's been working on structural integrity, and I said, is this like a heads up? Is this what we can expect in Alpha 67? Now, he hasn't said no. He hasn't said yes either. He said that the reason he's implemented the change that foundations now require at least one leg touching the ground is an exploit of essentially floating sky foundations for hang glider flying. So you fly down, jump onto that foundation, get your shit together, and then fly on. So that's why he's implemented this change. Weapon aiming. All aiming animations have been updated. Characters now aim weapons properly in the up and down, and also while strafing and turning, so that it looks correct. There's some other notable features. Bullet tracers are improved for better player situational awareness, smoother animations for both animals and humans, falling sounds added for dead characters so that you know they're dead. subtle facial animations like gritted teeth when firing a gun and pain expressions when hit. Enemies now throw weapons dramatically and extravagantly when killed. Who didn't need that? Fixed a power exploit for crafting stations where cancelling crafted items would refund the full power cost of the item rather than the discounted item or the discounted amount. So I know that my friend Barebone Survivor did a video on this, very popular. You would basically craft everything, cancel it, get your resources back and all the power back. Somehow it gave you a positive on the power, and you could build your power, maybe in mass, I don't know, up from using this exploit. It's gone, bitch, don't watch it. I'm sorry, because he did a brilliant video on that, but yeah, it's no longer an exploit. Fog. Now, as a side note, I was running back early night the other day in game and I ran through an inversion fog event. It surprised me so much that I actually asked ColdGames if it was a new addition that he hadn't included in the notes, because I'd never seen it before. It's like a low-lying fog. It was really immersive, really dramatic. He said apparently it's been in the game for a fair old while, but it's hooked on several weather system prerequisites, and I thought it was so incredibly awesome. I've said to ColdGames it'd be so much nicer to see this a bit more often. It's visually stunning. Gives a bit of a navigation challenge when you run home as well, and I really hope that we see a bit more of this in the future. If you've seen it and you would like to see more of it, pop your comments in the comment section and let me know. I'll pass that feedback on to ColdGames. And that is the full rundown of Subsistence Alpha 66 and ColdGames responses, guys, from smarter hunters and brutal dismemberment, proximity chat, survival tweets. This patch is a bit of a game changer. It brings some challenges in terms of hunters, but then some exploits in terms of like their knockback, their stagger, like some really good things that I've enjoyed seeing. I know a lot of people always want different things, like we would all love a game, a map expansion, things like that, but huge thanks to ColdGames for persevering with this game. It's a labour of love for a one-man band, and you simply can't argue with the fact that whatever he does bring in, whether you agree with it or not, he brings it in well. And I'd like to thank him for answering my questions and listening to feedback, especially reverting the plant bed fertilization changes for now. Now I want to hear from you. What's your favourite new feature? Do you love Gore system, or will you be switching it off? Drop your comments and thoughts in the comment section and I'll try to answer your questions, and if I can't, I'll see if I can get some answers from the old dev ColdGames. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss future updates and gameplay. Until next time, Pickles, stay safe and take care out there in the wilds of Subsistence Land.